Bidenomics, phony jobs, and 70% of the middle class is financially failing. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, June the 9th. And of course, we just completed another week where markets mostly rallied until Friday when they did have a little bit of a sell-off. But of course, we saw on Friday another bullshit phony jobs number that showed and continued to prove once again that the jobs that we're creating are being created, first of all, for foreign or illegal immigrants, okay? Since the year 2000 or 2021, more jobs have been created for illegal immigrants than have been created for Americans. A wonderful story to continue to go over. The thrill and greatness of President Biden's Bidenomics and his shit administration, who is trying to destroy this country. And of course, over 70% of the middle class is failing, living paycheck to paycheck, can't put money away. But of course, the rich and the wealthy don't care because, of course, they are benefiting from a lot of these policies. And of course, we continue to have the rate cut dance. And of course, if the Fed is going to follow their mandate, well, jobs are good. Although unemployment ticked up to 4%, based on the shitty jobs, which are, by the way, government jobs, which, by the way, means that you and me get to pay for them. So more bullshit, more trying to buy an election. Not only did they try and convict their competition, who is probably going to win anyways, but they also are trying to give you this bullshit about how good the economy is and how good the jobs are. And of course, we're still begging for the rate cut, which I don't believe is coming. We will find out in a couple of weeks when we get to the July meeting. But I don't see, with inflation where it's at, which is higher. First of all, the 3.4 or 3.5 that we are reporting is total horseshit. And I would say it's still closer to 10 or 11%. Interest rates are higher and should be even going higher than they are now if we are going to try to slow. Now, again, I never felt the need nor the reason why we should try to slow the economy. If it was a true economy that was really strong, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Everybody would be flourishing from it. But of course, that is not the case. And of course, the Biden administration continues to lay out the path for the big guys that help them and destroy any chance of middle class, okay, or small business or of capitalism. So if you're happy with the capitalism being destructed, if you're happy with the inability for you to go out and flourish, then you got to love President Biden, okay? And of course, we now have the California's latest tax law or idea, which is to charge drivers by the mile. Now, again, I don't know where you sit with climate change. I don't believe it. Okay, that's just me. But again, I'm not saying that I'm right or I'm wrong. But we have and still use 80% of our economy evolves around fossil fuels. Now, you want to find something better? President Biden, Governor Newsom, fix the fucking infrastructure. Okay? Fix the infrastructure, and then you won't have a problem. Then you can support these electronic vehicles or electric vehicles. Then you can support some of your missives. But just don't keep stealing Americans' money by figuring out ways to have more taxes. And of course, inflation is known as the hidden tax. So again, you're now seeing the payroll malarkey and pussy meltdown props. The market mayhem. I mean, again, you look at the jobs number and look inside of it. Again, the number of illegal immigrants has doubled, being hired more than Americans. Okay, it is a total bunch of horseshit. Government jobs, which do not benefit us. Government jobs do not create anything. In fact, government doesn't matter who's in power, doesn't create anything but debt. It would be nice to see if they would create a real budget and live off of a real budget. That would be something special. Okay, it would be nice not to have the debt ceiling raises and the end of the budgets, because of course, if they lived, or if you and I lived like the government lived, of course we'd be in bankruptcy court or jail. Okay, now, interesting enough, you may hate President Trump. I don't. I think that he's going to win. I thought that he was going to win before, but now I think that you can see that there are as many switchovers, because now many of the big donors are coming to his aid, plus the fact that last week, after his conviction, President Trump has raised $400 million. Now, that's a story for another day, because, again, remember, we, the taxpayers, get the benefit of paying for these elections as well. So I think that's a crock. But again, he has raised a ton. I think that, you're looking at a venture capitalists are now turning towards Donald Trump, but you are really living now under this administration in a banana republic. They are clearing the way for China to accelerate their 100-year plan. You can see that China and Russia are now in bed together, which is not a good thing. Okay, you can see that the influx of illegal Chinese immigrants, okay, you think that is by coincidence? I would be certain that they are in spying and doing things that they're not supposed to do. And I stand by my original statement of weeks or months ago, is that China is forcing down the price of grains to try to force farmers to sell, so that they can take over the world's food supply. And as I've told you before, China already owns Smithfield's, which is the largest pork producer in the world. Okay, so we have a total mess at the border. And of course, now President Biden is trying to give some executive order after we've had 10 million illegal immigrants come in at a cost of $10 trillion worth of debt. It's a wonderful adventure that we continue to see. The destruction of America in front of your very eyes, the destruction of the middle class by creating regulations that do not allow capitalism to take place at the lower end, the paving the way for Google and Meta and companies like that, so that nobody can ever come and compete with them. You gotta love what President Biden is doing. The banana republic of the United States, and of course, between the destruction of history, between the tearing down of the statues, now we have a new thing, that the term gynecologist is offensive. Are you kidding me? Is this what we're worried about? Is this what we're going to spend money on, that the term gynecologist is offensive? I think that we really need to have our fucking heads examined for listening to this bullshit, because if you're offended by the term gynecologist, then maybe you should go see a doctor, because again, it is ridiculous of how we look at things, and you have to worry about pronouns and what you do and what you say about certain things. And again, to me, it makes absolutely no sense. But again, I'm just someone here speaking. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, June the 9th. This is Todd Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out for a break, and we'll be back with our market report right after the break. Well, kids, what's going on? I hope you're having a great time. I hope you're having a good weekend. And of course, we've got all kinds of things going on. But of course, I've got sponsors for the show, and they're brokerage partners. And look, bottom line is, I'm not telling you should switch to them. I'm telling you that you should check them out, because I think you'll be happier. But either way, I have other brokers. So just to give you full disclosure, but of course, Capital Trading Group, which is is our partner in a lot of the programs that we do. And they are our futures broker for futures and commodities. But check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And that's scrolling down the sides, along with TRADIER brokerage. Okay, that again, $10 a month. I mean, again, saves me $100,000 a year. We are affixed to all our automation goes through them, so it can certainly help you there. And again, you'll save a lot of money in commissions and have your portfolio automated. And of course, WealthCharge, which is our educational arm, which also has a platform that ties into TRADIER. Again, everything's scrolling on the sides. And again, don't forget about our high school program. If you want to help us out, again, this administration is trying to destroy education, as you can see by what our kids are learning. But hopefully, we'll be able to do something about that. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, June the 9th. And, markets had an interesting week last week. I mean, they're higher. Again, we know no reason to sell off. You are very much in the internet bubble type of scenario. You're in the housing bubble type of scenario. Again, I'm not telling you what the market did. The market just sell off. In fact, we're generally long here. But I will just say this to you is that I did trade through the internet bubble, and NVIDIA is certainly in bubble territory. Not that they're not going to make it, not that they're not going to be good, but there will be a sell-off here at some point. Certainly they split 10 for 1 tomorrow or did it over the weekend. But in the meantime, you're going to see that, they're bigger. They're about, between them and two other stocks, they're about 35% of the entire rally this year. So again, I think that you're going to see some pullback here. But in the meantime, again, we'll see. It is what it is, and the rally will be over when it's over. And I'm not telling you that it is today because I don't think so. But it will be over when it's over, and it will be shocking when it does start to fall apart. But in the meantime, in the major indices, we would be short the Dow, short the NASDAQ, short the Russell, and long the S&P and long the NASDAQ. Okay, those are what our position should be. Okay, in the dollar, we would be short the dollar, but of course, we no longer trade the dollar, and that's nothing to do with our belief in the dollar. It has everything to do with the cost and having to change it through the NYMEX or 9X, whichever one of those crappy New York exchanges want to rip you off. The euro currency, we will be long. And again, remember, these all are subject to change on a daily basis because we don't give out the official position until the morning because we want to make sure that either we're flat or we're with the trend. Bonds and notes, they got clobbered on Friday. We would still be long them. Now, I believe they're going a lot lower because I think interest rates are going higher. I don't think there's going to be a rate cut. I think there's going to be a rate hike. And I think that's the only logical solution. I don't care what the Fed funds rate says. I don't care what the emails that I get telling me that it's this, and this. The whole rally was built on the thought of rate cuts. They're supposed to be in March. Now they're supposed to be in July. Let's see what happens. And again, if you get a rate cut before the election, it's either it's either a political move, which might be criminal. It's either a political move or it's because we're in a recession, which I think we already are in one. In the meantime, Bitcoin, we're long. Gold and silver, we are short. Actually, silver we would be long now, but we are short gold, long silver. We're long copper. Okay. In the grain markets, we're short wheat, we're short beans, and long corn. In the cattle market, we don't trade cattle anymore, but I do. I'm short cattle and I'm long hogs. Crude oil, we are still short. And of course, we told you last week to expect a little bit of a rally, and you got a pretty stiff rally in crude oil this week because, again, it was very oversold. Natural gas for long, which continues to charge its way higher. And of course, in the softs, cocoa, we're short. Sugar, we're long. Coffee, we're long. And OJ, we're short. I tell it to you this way, that the markets will do what the markets are going to do. We're never going to tell you that we know what the markets will do. The action suggests that we're starting to run out a little bit of steam. The action suggests that we're in a recession. Now we'll see how it all plays out. Again, don't fight what's going on. Let the markets tell you what they're going to do. And that is certainly dictated by what the charts are. But I think that you have many issues for middle-class America. The $20 an hour in California, which got Rubio's to close their doors, and McDonald's is talking about leaving California. Those will all have effects on the markets when they do happen. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out here for a break, and we'll come back with our commentary right after the break. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel. You know the drill. On the sides and on the bottom, Trader Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, Well Charts, and our high school program. again, all we're trying to do is make things better for you and try to help out. And of course, we want to educate. We'd like to educate our kids instead of the lousy education they get right now. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horowitz. And of course, every week I give you a little bit of my commentary. And again, you know, if you don't know, I am a libertarian. I am not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I believe that the political system in today's world is broken down. I think that we are dealing with a bunch of criminals, whether they be left or right. And of course, what you didn't see after the verdict, what the Democrats would like you to have seen is any violence, any problem after Trump was found guilty. You saw a massive inflow of donations. You saw a massive inflow of support from some of the major funds. And you now have the chance that for the state of Virginia, which has not been hasn't voted Republican in 20 years, there's a very good chance that they could turn Republican. You have an imbecile in President Joe Biden representing your country that keeps telling you all the good things he's done. Well, the average American is struggling from paycheck to paycheck, not being able to put money away, not being able to eat dinner. And of course, we continue to ignore and put these things to the sideline because, of course, in times like this, the wealthy have the greatest time because they're accumulating more assets. And if you want to benchmark right now off of the stock market, there's only 7% of the 7% of the population controls 93% of the equity market. So again, it's not a broad-based coverage for everybody. Yes, some have 401ks and things like that, but you have a mess, you have a disaster that has been created by the current administration that has cost you and me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and destroyed a lot of families because of it, because of the cost of living, because of inflation, all for no reason, all because it was created by the bullshit given to us by this administration that has cost us more taxes, more for food, more for gas, more for everything else. If you're happy with that, hey, vote for Joe Biden again. But I'm not happy with it, and I think that it's going to be a much bigger problem in the future. But hey, it's up to you. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horowitz. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update, but of course, next Sunday with Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great week, everybody.